I'm Elaine Penhaul, founder of Lemon and Lime. We specialise in getting properties ready for sale so that all of our clients can achieve the highest possible offer for their home in the shortest possible time. There are a series of questions that I get asked very frequently, and we've decided to put together some short video clips to help answer those. I'm sure you'll have more questions when you've watched these. Please feel free to get in touch either by phone or by email.
We are probably in our normal housing market. We've gone from a nuts housing market to a normal housing market, and things are busy. How are things with your business and what's going on? How are you seeing the market at the moment?
I think it's really interesting at the moment because, as you know, we're staging property before it comes onto the market. And what we've noticed over the years of running the business is that we generally get busy about a month or so before the estate agents get busy. And we have had the busiest January, February that we've ever had. So we've had so many properties coming to us. So although there's been the doom and gloom about what's going to happen in the market, we've been super, super busy, which really doesn't feed into the whole press thing about the housing markets dropping off. I think what's happening is that estate agents and also home sellers have reached the point where they think, actually, it's not going to be that easy. It's not necessarily going to be straightforward. It is going to go back to exactly what you said, a more normal market. And we need to do everything we can to get the best price possible.
So we're starting to see a big change in the fact that estate agents for the last few years have been selling houses like it's falling off a log.
Yeah.
They've been order takers.
Yeah.
They've then gone into deal makers.
Yeah.
But as we're starting to go into the market that we're seeing at the moment, where there isn't any places to hide, they've got to add value.
Yes.
And bringing in your level of service and bringing in something that's a little bit different to potential sellers and getting the right advice from day one is probably more important now than it ever has been. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. And I think that two things have happened. Through the madness of the housing market during COVID, as we all saw, sales went up, as you've just described. Agents thought that, found that selling houses was a bit like falling off a log. And interestingly, we were extremely busy through that period because I think gradually what people began to realise is, well, if I've got 2 buyers for my house, what would it take to get 10 buyers for my house and push the asking price up, push the guide price up even further, push up the offer that I'm likely to achieve even further? And people began to come to us. And when I say people, I mean developers, which have always been part of our market, more estate agents, and also home sellers directly. So we've gone through the COVID years of having a direct to sellers market of about 1% pre-COVID to about 15-20% post-COVID, which is interesting in itself. And I think now that there are more sellers who have realised that through that time that the way to maximise their sale was to get it staged, was to get some help with the presentation, to make it look fantastic so that they were getting 10 people competing over it as opposed to 3 people competing over it. And now I think what's happening is that the estate agents are driven by 2 things. One is about a fear almost of not getting instructions because there aren't so many instructions about. And secondly, not being able to sell the instructions that they've got because there aren't so many buyers about as there have been. And so they're thinking, well, and competition, really. So in getting those instructions, they're competing against a whole lot of other agents. They don't want to compete on fees, and nor should they, because estate agency fees are low in this country in any case. So they're competing on bringing more value into their proposition, which is absolutely where they should be as a service industry, absolutely where they should be, bringing more value in. And the staging and considering the presentation before marketing is very much part of that. I think at the same time, sellers have become more educated about the difference that presenting a property well makes. and have started to reach out independently for staging businesses, for people to help them with that. And if their agent isn't recommending it, then actually it's not the agent to instruct. And I think it really will become as blunt as that over the next few months.
Okay, that's interesting because I'd like to talk to you about a scenario that we've just had recently within my agency. A property that we've taken to the market. You talked about doom mongers and the market being flat as a pancake and prices falling, and you listen to some of the national press, and that's exactly what they'll tell you is happening.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
I put a property to the market in the middle of Charnwood at £500,000. It needed some work doing to it. It was empty. And we took it to the market and we promoted it really well. We did a layered marketing campaign where we used social media, we used traditional marketing methods such as boards and talking to people on our database. We went onto the online websites. We got 18 viewings on that property in 2 weeks. We've sold it at the asking price. Whilst it did have some concerns around the layout and concerns about the presentation, the market still reacted because it was a good house. Would I don't need home staging, do I, that with a property like that?
No, you don't need it. Clearly, you can sell it without home staging, which is absolutely fine. However, if you had gone down the route of getting the property dressed rather than selling it empty before you brought it to market and then continue to do all the fabulous things that you've clearly done, so the strategies that you've already used to promote it, then the fact that the house would have looked like, oh, wow, it's got gorgeous interiors. Although we know that there's some work to be done, suddenly you're bringing in even more people into the marketplace, because I'm imagining that in the scenario you've just presented to me, there would have been a number of people, particularly in a family market, who would look at it and think, it's a good house, it's a good area, it's empty. I'm not sure whether the space is going to work for me. On a lot of levels, they would have thought about that. So I wonder if you've done a great job and you've got 18 viewings on it with nothing in it, then actually, had you been able to convince the seller to spend a little bit on getting it fully furnished before you brought it to market, you might quite easily have doubled the potential market. And so you sold it out at asking price. They accepted an offer at asking price. I would have loved to challenge you to push that price significantly over asking, or to stage it and then list it higher and still get it at asking. So you're more than covering. Normally we would expect to cover the staging costs between 5 and 20-fold. Depending on the scale of the property.
Okay, so by staging it, we could have opened up the market further to be able to get family buyers that could visualize living in there because the furniture was there.
Exactly.
It would have looked a little bit like when you're booking a holiday, you go for something that's aspirational, perhaps a little bit nicer than where you live. You could see yourself being there. You could see where you would be sleeping, living, put the Christmas tree, and visualize yourself living there, which would have brought more people to the marketplace. The greater level of viewings, the greater number of offers, the better price we'd get. I can see.
Sure.
So, okay, so what you're saying is that we can bring the two things together. It's adding value, isn't it? This is going over and above just being an order taker or a deal maker, but adding value to get the seller the very best price.
And that's exactly what we're talking about, doing the very, very best for the seller. Rather than doing a good job, you're now doing a great job. Hope you found that helpful. If you'd like some more information, please feel free to get in touch. Follow us on our social media channels, pick up the phone, or pop me an email.